Now, let me welcome you to this very special conversation this morning. On November the 8th, 2025, the Anambra governorship election will hold. So the entire media community, the non-governmental organizations, INEC, security, they are all headed towards Oka, the Anambra state capital. Political conversation is also centering on the Anambra governorship election. Now, the president had told the new INEC chairman to use Anambra as a litmus test to look at the efficiency of the system and how well it can deliver when the big one comes. But there is a conversation needling the entire matter by the side. The issue of vote buying. And there is a specific issue. Last week, the governor of Anambra State, Professor Soludo, announced financial award from 1 million to 5 million to wards and constituencies that will vote for his party, ABGA, where ABGA wins. And the opposition has gone uproar, won't accept this. This is the equivalent of vote buying. And some of us in the media have also bought into it. If I promise to give you money in exchange for your vote, what does it amount to? Isn't it an inducement? Therefore, if I don't have money, I won't get voted for. This afternoon, or indeed this morning, I have Ezenwa Nwago, who is the Executive Director, Peering Advocacy and Advancement Center in Africa, PACA. Let's discuss this matter. First, Ezenwa, welcome to the conversation.
Thank you. So good to see you, sir.
You heard my opening remark.
I did.
A party now is promising, if we win in your locality, in your ward, in your unit, in your senatorial district, you get 1 million, 3 million, or 5 million. Is that not vote buying?
I would first like to start with where you said the president gave the INEC chairman a marching order. So the I in the independent, if the president is the one telling the INEC chairman what to do and what not to do, so when it looks like it is positive, I hope we are excited about the fact that he's giving him marching order. But when it is negative, I hope we'll also be able to
we will call to the independent and say no.
No. So this president has no business giving marching order to
the
INEC chairman. And the INEC chairman has been very funny since he started. He's always talking about the state house, when they went to the state house. I hope he's conscious. He's conscious of the implication of those statements. Having said that, the second challenge is that the president is also talking to the wrong person. Subnational elections are as good as the resident electoral commissioners
can deliver or not deliver.
Resident electoral commissioners are appointed just the same way an INEC chairman is appointed. They go through nomination by the president, they get screened by the secret police, they come back to the Council of State, and then they go to the National Assembly. The same process of 2/3 removal for an INEC chairman is this. So you are not dealing with a surrogate of Professor Amupiton. You are actually have somebody who has quasi-administrative independence.
And authority.
And even though he's a political the resident electoral commissioner is there's an administrative secretary who is the technocrat, the bureaucrat who is on ground in Anambra, coordinating 21 other electoral officers and a plethora of academics who will either work as returning officers. So if you had any message, it is not to the one who will sit in a situation room and will visit Anambra to go and have meetings with stakeholders and return back. In fact, before his appointment, if there are 10 things INEC needed to do in Anambra, 9 had already been done. So this messaging, I need to
you need to put it across.
I need to put it across so that a lot of people begin to hold the feet of people who are responsible on fire, because many times what we do is that we shield these guys, these on ground folks like the resident and the 21 electoral officers and this plethora of, and then give. So it's not any litmus test for any Amupito. The Anambra election is not
it's a litmus test for the operation there.
For the, just underline it, sir, that
resident electoral commission,
every sub-national election is as good as the competence, the capacity of the resident electoral commissioner and the electoral officers and the plethora of ad hoc staff that would conduct that election. So we like this command this thing. Once you're in Abuja, you can command outcome. You cannot command any outcome in Anambra, in Ogbaru, where people have to go through water, and then the people who are carrying canoe can decide to put them in the middle of the river and ask them whether they want to go forward or not. So those are important to signpost.
Yes.
Then going to your main question, election is a law-guided activity. It is not, even though it is important, it is not an ethical enterprise. It is law. So in engaging conversations, you first must look at the law. What does the law say? This thing that I'm talking about, and sir, with due respect, the tragedy of public commentary in Nigeria is that many people who get involved in conversation about election
come from point of emotion,
have no business. They have no contact with the Electoral Act. They have no contact with INEC guidelines. They have no contact with the Constitution. And if you like, do a test just in your office here now. Call some of the people who you think should know. Ask them whether they have a copy of the Electoral Act, and you'll be shocked. You'll be besmirched that many of them have, they don't have, and they have never read. So the challenge, therefore, is that okay, Mr. Soludo, and we like the big man, but the small man is engaged in a scale. In the same thing. So what do I mean by that? Oh, if you steal $1 million naira and you stole 1,000 naira from somebody, if you use the gun to steal 1 million and you use the gun to steal 1,000 naira, the law does not look at quantum. It looks at the criminality. So now what you have is voter inducement, which is a feature, indeed a very deleterious feature of Anambra elections.
Voter
inducement. Now, what do I mean by that? The former governor of that state had given communities on record 20 million 2 months to election as development funds. When a governor starts fast tracking a road that he has left for 3 years, 2 months to election, they are all voter inducement. But what does your law say? So in the particular case that we are referring to, the law has no contemplation of promissory notes. What is promissory note? If you vote for me, I will give you. So the person, the people at the play, who are the electorates, can decide that, oh, supposing we vote, he is not obliged. There is no MOU. There is no law. There is nothing binding him to fulfill. The other person who is complaining can come and say, if you vote for me, I will give you 1 million. I will give you 2 million. Your own mouth is not held back. Why you are not saying that? We are busy pushing credit cards. We are busy routine alerts. You are busy sharing salt, wrapper, and such other things that are not covered. Even though both of us are aware that it is voter inducement, but legally speaking, there is nowhere in the Electoral Act, except it happens at the presence of the election, which is 300 meters, 300 whatever, close to the polling unit. So if they do a transfer overnight to voters, Ezenwa gave some 100,000 yesterday. I could interpret it in different ways. I could say I just wanted to empower you. So Nigerian empowerment by politicians are all attempts at subverting the law. So let's raise the ethical concerns that are concerned, how it creates imbalance, psychological imbalance. Because yes, this governor is using, we have to now interrogate whether it is his own money or public money, and then there are many excuses. People have contributed money. Okay, communities are giving this governor money. Individuals are donating money. Has they run foul of the Electoral Act in terms of who can contribute? And then when that happens, the law, who does he put the responsibility of maintaining law and order on?
I'm still on maintaining the law and enforcing the law.
Who? So roles in the electoral firmament, slapping you on election day, there is no election slap. Slap is assault. You have assaulted you. If I inflict bodily injury on you, then it is battery. So the law says that the police, under the Police Act, must enforce all laws. So they hide and pretend that they didn't see the slap, that it is INEC that has to tell them that somebody has been slapped, and that if INEC does not tell them somebody has been slapped, then there was no slap.
Nothing they can do.
But that is not what the law says. The law has given them the responsibility. If a crime is committed anywhere, they don't need anybody.
And slap is a crime.
It's a crime. So I'm explaining this. So many times, the INEC chairman should do something about vote buying. What will he do? No, tell me.
Yeah, as I'm coming to that. Law sometimes issues from morality and social value. It's not just a technical matter. It's not mechanistic. A law looks at something and says, by the values of this society, as society looks at it, it's not right to allow this into progress, and therefore a law is made to stop it. If the point we raised this afternoon has no clearly defined law stopping it, isn't there a lacuna in the electoral law?
See, sir, the law cannot take out. There is nowhere in the world where the law is on everything. It does not. That's why you talk about attitudinal reform. You talk about the nature, and I call it the nature, the character, the complexion of your political elite. Your political elite are not They are not ethical. They are not. Forget whether it's in party B or in party A. What they complain about party A if they have the opportunity, they do even worse. So you have a category that is not ethical, that will tell you that we are not conducting a church service. Even church service has rules, but they will tell you plainly that this is not an election of the Pope. That it is a, so you have sometimes an elite that has a winner takes it all mentality. Okay, that is completely, and I use this word everywhere I go, completely absent from reforms, whether attitudinal. The place where you are going for legislative reforms are they are the politicians. So they deliberately leave the lacuna. They leave the lacuna so that you can't hold them. They only complain when it on them. Now you are in the National Assembly. You are probably in opposition, and for good measure, the 2023 election gave us a diverse National Assembly. What should be a diverse National Assembly, where you have people called opposition political elements in the National Assembly. Where is their voice on those lacuna? Where is the paper position that they have brought out? You are a veteran journalist, you are vast in this thing. Show me one place where you have opposition position on these issues. So it is a deformed, very deformed, hoping to benefit from the perfidy in the laws, only patiently waiting.
When you see the opportunity and it favors you.
I also run a TV program in one of the stations, and I invited somebody who is in a opposition party on my show, and he was waxing about INEC, and I asked him, how did you come to the National Assembly? He said he was elected. I said, who conducted the election? He said INEC. I said, did you bribe them? He said no. So as soon as I asked that question,
his countenance,
he now came back to, no, that's not what I was talking about. I'm just talking about general reform. The point is that those who should fix these issues are themselves complicit.
There are two issues that arise, isn't it?
So you are talking. Let me land on this thought. Morality, and I'm telling you that it is law. Law is not about what me and you have inside our head or what we think it should be, and that's why when there is a legal interpretation, when the judges interpret the law, we come with this, what you have just said now, we come with this, but morality, and because the judge does not respond to you, he looks at you and say, I am here, there is something that is in my front. If you say it is not this, you have to provide evidence for me. If you go and address a press conference, it does not change the issue.
No.
The issue is, I cannot find this man guilty because he issued a promissory note, because there is no law that says he cannot give promises. What does politicians thrive on? The whole thing about politics is about promise.
Even promise
and promise, they are like babies, easy to make, but hard to deliver. Very hard to deliver. So promises, if you vote for me, in the next 1 year, I will turn the whole of Anambra to Dubai. If you vote for me, all that you also, so if you criminalize that, you can't criminalize if you vote for me, I will give you, it's the same thing like saying, if you vote for me, I will do 20 kilometers of road for you in your community. The other opposition, aren't they saying the same thing? And so we can track. Those of us who are tracking can track. If you win, we want to now track whether you gave the people the money. And then when we gave the question, that's the beauty of democracy, sir. The issue of your promise is not where we will stay. We will now be asking you, whose money did you use? If you used government money, where was it appropriated? That's where you become a troublemaker in Nigeria. this money that they give to us now, you people, civil society, instead of you to just go and mind, it is the people that me and you are fighting for that will come and say that we are meddlesome interlopers.
Okay, I want to look at the fate of the voter and outcomes of election. The voter wants to make up his mind based on the programs, the manifesto of a party. He wants to. And then here comes these promissory notes.
And other promissory notes. Let's not make it about Soludo. It's very important.
Yes. What is financial reward
for, because Soludo's own
is an open mind.
Is known promises. So who is chronicling what they are saying and their promises?
The politician now comes and says, I will give you money if you vote for me. He has not spoken about the manifesto. That's not what I'm talking about. Can our society grow? And from the outcome of that election, well, that election is no longer campaign and manifesto. It is like people making financial changes in the Temple of Jerusalem. Give me this, I give you that. Vote for me, get money. How does that grow our democracy? How does that help the electorate to make a right decision and the outcomes can be expected to improve society?
I like your pristinism. You know that outlook of, but unfortunately, electoral relationships have become transactional. While we focus on the money that is used at the polling unit to induce voters and pervert their choices, maybe, we do not look at what goes on in the primary election which the political parties conduct. And it is called primary election because it is the most important election. Dollarized, not competitive. In fact, the political parties are pseudo EMBs. They are pseudo electoral. They are not pseudo, but they are also some kind of electoral management body because they conduct primary elections, and they conduct elections that are worse
than what we are talking
about. So the perversion, the pervasive nature of money in our politics is not just
the key, not just this instant case.
It's not just this one. So if you want to, the kind of solutions that you are asking me to profile is like using ointment for eczema to cure leprosy. The leprous condition is that we have completely monetized our election. And it's not just Anambra. It is that in the by-election in Zamfara State, the last by-election, if you followed, motorbikes were used as exchange. Inducement. Exchange. Motorbikes, clear motorbikes. Votes were bought for as much as 150,000 naira. In the last Tondo election, it came to us about, in the morning it was close to 30,000. By the time it was evening, it was coming down to 5,000. And there is no one, the party that is shouting about vote buying is saying that somebody have outpaid me. Not that I didn't participate in this.
If I had resources,
I pledged. You are not talking about pledge. In many places, it is not a pledge. In Ondo, Edo, and some of the sub-national elections that we have had, people collect and show you as an observer. And in fact, in Ondo State, it was new notes. It was that there are POS people who are waiting. If you vote, you go to a POS and collect money. So how will I go to a POS and say somebody is collecting money? It is vote buying. So the truth of it is that, and that is why people cannot connect what many people mistake as voter apathy. It is the politicians calculating the number that they want to come out to pay. If you check Anambra, for instance, they have the lowest turnout rate. It is because of how monetized their politics is. The more people come out, the more it is difficult to pay. So they keep the number. The politicians keep the number at a manageable expense level where they can pay. Check all the subnational elections that you see. The turnouts have been very low. See the presidential election. As you increase in money politics, the turnout becomes low. The politicians keep it that low deliberately so that they can
afford to pay.
They can afford to pay. And people say, oh, the voters are not turning out. You see your voter registration. Your voter registration is you are going to add almost 10 million new voters to about 100 and something. People say, oh, there are dead people, there are this in the. I agree. But the truth of the matter is that go and check all your elections. When INEC restored power substantially to the voters, outcomes started going down. Because the time when you were having bloated figures in election were the time the monies were given to INEC officials to thumbprint inside their hotel rooms. That's when the numbers were high. 2003, 2007, 69%, all that percent. From the time vote buying came was a response to substantial power returning to the voter. So the politicians started targeting number. If we put 3 billion and we pay 20,000, how many people do we need? If our opponents bring 50,000, we up it to 25. So if you have more people coming out,
it becomes difficult to pay everybody.
So they keep it low deliberately. In many places they suppress votes. In many places they use siege mentality. They create violence to reduce the number. And those who are studying it are still hung up on voter apathy. Voter apathy. The people connect it to what I have told you now and do the study. You'll be amazed. So the Nigerian crisis in terms of outcomes is that you now rely on the benevolence of the politician who paid for his vote. If he feels nice, he does something. If he does not feel, he says, I've paid. I paid.
Isn't West Nigeria in ethics?
This point
talking about reform some other time. Is Nigeria in ethics?
See, the thing is that Signature TV has created a platform for people who can think to hear. The mass of the actions that we are taking will come to a crescendo at a point where people will understand that the reason why they don't have good roads is simply because they mortgage their votes. Those who claim they are not voting because votes are not counting, don't reckon with the people who have collected money to exercise their franchise. So let's say we have 1,000 voters and 960 people come out who are conscious. What will you manipulate? INEC has already done this thing for you, that politicians understand, sir, that they have to get you, the voter, to come out. That no matter the solution that an INEC official is hawking for you, it will, if
you be there,
you must come out. Even if he's going to announce a number, somebody has to physically. Before, nobody has to physically come out. What they do is they carry the ballot
sit somewhere,
thumping, and
it doesn't work again.
And use thugs. Many people don't have understanding that we have made incremental progress in that way. They are still hung up on your votes don't count. And do you know what, sir? Politicians are excited anytime you say the votes don't count. There's nothing they enjoy like you saying the votes don't count, because they need even if 2 people come and vote and they get 2 votes and another person gets 1 vote, they have become. And you like it, you don't like it, they will govern you.
The election has been won and lost.
You can be doing all the analysis on TV, in which we are specialists in.
Okay, we are doing the analysis on TV this morning. Well, I raised the worry whether
we are in a fix.
Whether the Anambra outcome will reflect the voter intention, the voter choice, whether those giving promissory notes have not offended the law. And I'm a little bit worn down this morning that there's no law that will catch somebody for making promise that I'll give you 1 million. Maybe I'll go back to the National Assembly.
Because this is, sir, face it, sir. What, like I asked you, what does campaigns mean? It's about promises. Everything you say there is I will do.
I will.
Now, but let me tell you the gap. You know what the gap is? We, the people and their organizations, have not been interested in the reforms that we are thinking about. I'll tell you how quickly. It is during these campaigns that many churches want to complete their building that they have been building for 2 years, 3 years, that they have not been complete. Who do they invite? They immediately put launching. Now, imagine that Christian Association of Nigeria, I'm just using them, and I don't mean any disrespect. Christian Association, PFN, whatever, they gathered and invite these aspirants and say no clapping. This is the state of health in Anambra State. Public hospitals are like this. This is this. In your 1 year, 2 years, what will you do to change this? In a program they organized, not the one the governor facilitated his organization. Imagine that the NUJ does not give award at this time. NUJ Anambra does not give award to politicians at this time. That NUJ Anambra will invite the candidates to their own town hall and say, this and this is the school of state of primary education in Anambra State. That today in Onitsha, there is no fire service that is functioning. That water is, can you tell us? So, after 2 years, there is a document that you can use and say, NUJ, we invited you, sir. This is 2 years.
Let's measure.
Can we measure? So these things is not rocket science. But the pretense to the contrary is that we are not interested in these things. As they are listening to me now, they say, it's so easy to be talking. He just talk. He doesn't know anything. They are the ones who know something. So because we are asking about solution, I've just told you one way. Very simple way.
Hold them to account.
The account. Why Society of Engineering organize a town hall, invite the candidates and say there are no public buildings for the poor in Anambra State. We have seen mansions in villages that there are no roads going to them. When are you going to build low-income houses that our people can have? When are you going to do independent power projects in Anambra to galvanize the local industries that are in the Navy and the rest of them? When will that happen? After 2 years? After 3 years? But you will see a festival of awards. They will be invited to carnivals called campaigns. Carnivals, dancing. If ndị demmili ndị oyi a ga-enye ọnụ 5 million.
Okay, that's I think we are busting our limits. But it's a very serious matter. It, in fact, as you have said, goes beyond Anambra State. It's a major development that we need to tackle. Being able to hold those who ask for our votes to account. Real account, and not turning our campaigns into carnivals. Asking the real questions and wanting to gain answers. But the truth he has told us this morning clearly is that these also are legal matters. They're not emotional matters. They are not moral matters. We meet Ezema once again. Maybe we meet him in Oka. time, I hope he's going to be in Oka. And all of us will watch as the voters vote. And mark something he said, please, it is not an Amokweto affair. The whole issue is about the resident electoral commissioner and his team.
Her team in Anambra.
Her team in Anambra. And the other officials working with her. When that outcome comes, we'll also tell you. For this morning, let's thank Ezenwa for finding time to come to our program. Ezenwa, thank you very much.
It's my pleasure. Thank you so very much, sir.
And the conversation never stops. We meet again and again and again. Good morning.